It was a slug fest. I'm talking about the Democrat debate that happened last night in Nevada. Ooh, we were laughing, we were cheering. We're going to play some clips for you and then tell you what it really means. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance. Welcome to the program, friend. I'm going to play some highlights from last night's debate. Now, somewhere between 6 and 8 million people watched it. This is in a country with more than 300 million people. So please keep that in mind. Most of you did not watch the debate. I'm going to play 5 or 6 minutes of clips. And these clips capture the spirit of the debate. It was brutal. First, it was, let's all jump on Mike Bloomberg. And then once that was over, it was, let's jump on each other. And up until last night's debate, there has never been a slugfest. There's never been a real go for the throat moment. But now that Mike Bloomberg is in the race, and now that people are starting to run out of money, they're frantic to get the headline. They're frantic to get earned media. I'll come back to that in a minute. Now, the clip I'm about to show you was put together by someone from NBC News or watching NBC News because they hosted the debate. And then there's a little 15-second clip at the end. I'll tell you about that. So enjoy this. Here it is.
I'd like to talk about who we're running against. A billionaire who calls women fat broads and horse-faced lesbians. And no, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about Mayor Bloomberg.
I actually welcomed Mayor Bloomberg to the stage. I thought that he shouldn't be hiding behind his TV ads. I don't think you look at Donald Trump and say, we need someone richer in the White House.
Let's put forward somebody who actually lives and works in a middle-class neighborhood in an industrial Midwestern city. Let's put forward somebody who's actually a Democrat. Look.
The one thing that I'm really worried about, embarrassed about, was how it turned out with stop and frisk. It got out of control.
And it's not whether he apologized or not, it's the policy. The policy was abhorrent, and it was, in fact, a violation of every right people have.
I have no tolerance for the kind of behavior that the Me Too movement has exposed. In my foundation, the person that runs it's a woman. 70% of the people there are women. In my company, lots and lots of women have big responsibilities. They get paid exactly the same as men.
And I hope you heard what his defense was. I've been nice to some women. Mr. Mayor, are you willing to release all of those women from those non-disclosure agreements so we can hear their side of the story?
There's agreements between two parties that wanted to keep it quiet, and that's up to them.
We are not going to beat Donald Trump with a man who has who knows how many non-disclosure agreements and the drip, drip, drip of stories of women saying they have been harassed and discriminated against. That's not what we do as Democrats.
Mr. Vice President. I believe in democratic socialism for working people, not billionaires.
What a wonderful country we have. The best-known socialist in the country happens to be a millionaire with 3 houses. What I miss here?
Well, you'll miss that I work in Washington, House 1.
That's the first problem.
Live in Burlington, House 2.
That's good.
And like thousands of other Vermonters, I do have a summer camp. Forgive me for that. Where is your home? Which tax haven do you have your home?
New York City, thank you very much.
Yeah, well,
and I pay all my
home.
taxes. And I'm happy to do it because I get something for it.
And Mitch McConnell, I've been the object of his affection and the president's affection. The way he's gone after me, this new Republican Party, after me, after my son, after my family. I don't need to be told I'm a friend of Mitch McConnell's. Mitch McConnell has been the biggest pain in my neck in a long, long time.
And that's what we are saying, Pete, is maybe it's a time for the working class of this country to have a little bit of power in Washington rather than your billionaire campaign contributors.
All right, look, first of all,
I know. And if there are a few people who make ugly remarks, who attack trade union leaders, I disown those people. They are not part of our movement.
But leadership is about what you draw out of people. It's about how you inspire people to act.
I have an idea of how we
move us forward.
stop sexism on the internet. We could nominate a woman for candidate for President of the United States.
Mayor Buttigieg really has a slogan that was thought up by his consultants to paper over a thin version of a plan that would leave millions of people unable to afford their health care. It's not a plan, it's a PowerPoint. And Amy's plan is even less. It's like a Post-it note, insert plan here. Bernie,
I think Amy said.
I'm more of a Microsoft Word guy.
I must say I take personal offense since Post-it notes were invented in my state.
But you're staking your candidacy on your Washington experience. You're on the committee that oversees border security. You're on the committee that does trade. You're literally in part of the committee that's overseeing these things. And we're not able to speak to literally the first thing about the politics of the country to ourselves.
Are you trying to say that I'm dumb, or are you mocking me here, Pete?
I'm saying that you shouldn't trivialize that
I made an
knowledge.
error. People sometimes forget names. He's basically saying that I don't have the experience to be president of the United States. I have passed over 100 bills as the lead Democrat since being in the U.S. Senate. I am the one, not you, that has won statewide in congressional district after congressional district.
but let's just be clear, missing a name all by itself does not indicate that you do not understand what's going on. And I just think this is unfair.
I can't think of a ways that would make it easier for Donald Trump to get reelected than listening to this conversation. It's ridiculous. We're not going to throw out capitalism.
All right. That 15-second clip, I looked at a couple of different montages. The one of Mike Bloomberg saying, we're not going to throw out capitalism. That's an ad. Mike Bloomberg did get jumped on a lot last night, but he had that one good phrase, and I was looking for it. I couldn't find it until it popped up as an ad. His people are so smart that they want that to be the clip that starts to get circulated around, and guess what? They've got the money to do it. It's a 15-second pop-up ad, and you're going to start to see that 15-second clip pop up on your computer if you're somebody who looks at YouTube videos. All right. I'm way over on my time. I've got to take a break, and when I come back, I'm going to begin to sort this out for you, what it means for this Saturday's Nevada primary, next week's South Carolina primary, and then Super Tuesday. Please don't go away. Introducing Roxy Guitar. If you're a guitar or bass player, whether you play acoustic or electric, check out Roxy Guitar. I've been playing for over 40 years and seen guitar stores all over America. I've never seen a store like Roxy Guitar. Roxy Guitar has over 700 guitars in stock, over 1,500 pedals, over 200 amps. For the beginner or price-conscious buyer, there's Michael Kelly guitars. For the serious player or professional, Roxy Guitar has the finest selection of guitar lines I've ever seen. You know I love Warrior guitars. Roxy Guitar has over 100 Warriors in stock. They have Heritage, G&L, Gretsch, John Sears, BC Rich, Duesenberg, Dean, legendary guitars at great prices, including pre-owned Gibsons, Fenders, and more. Let them know you heard about Roxy Guitar from Randall Terry and receive 10% or more off your purchase on select items. Go to roxyguitar.com. Welcome back, friend. In a political election of this nature, what would you guess is the least effective way to win voters? You ready? It's probably an in-person rally. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. If you are someplace as the candidate and you're in person and you meet 10 or 100 or 500 people, that's it. That's how many you've met. And then you hope that word of mouth will get around. Maybe some people will take some selfies. If you want to leverage that meeting, you hope that there are television crews present radio stations broadcasting sound bites or maybe even the event live. You hope that there are newspapers present who take pictures and run stories and run your best quotes. Those things are called earned media. So as I set the table for what we saw last night and what's going to happen over the next 2 weeks, I want you to understand something that's going in the minds of most of the candidates on that stage, with the exception of Michael Bloomberg and Bernie Sanders. What's going through the mind of most of those people on that stage is that they have to be in the news. And the reason that that is so critical is because they don't have the money to pay for advertising. That is the one element of this race that is completely skewed by the entrance of Mike Bloomberg into the Democrat primary. Bloomberg has what is in effect an unfathomable amount of money. It's like a bottomless pit. In television, the law states that there are 4 levels of payments for TV ads. The top one is you pay full price and it's non-preemptible. So if you pay this much money for an ad on the 6:30 evening news and it's full price, okay, you're going to be on. They can't preempt you. And then you can have almost full price but preemptible with notice. They'll call you and say, hey, somebody's willing to pay this price. We want you to pay it to match it or we're going to preempt you. So it's preemptible with notice. The third is preemptible without notice. Yes, you paid for it, but somebody came along with more money to buy one of these 2 high-price ads, same time slot, and we're taking your ad and setting it aside. We'll refund your money, but they don't have to tell you. The fourth one is called run of station. And that just means you give us money. I'm the TV station. You give us money and we'll run your ad when we've got a hole. We can throw it in where nothing else has been bought. Mike Bloomberg has so much money that if he wants, he can just buy at full rate card non-preemptible ads. You can't kick them off. And the people who have money for these ads down here, which are way less money, especially when you get to the bottom, you know, they might get thrown in at 2:30 in the morning on some rerun of a cooking show that has almost no viewers. So that 15-second clip that you saw at the end of the last montage of Mike Bloomberg saying this is insane, if we throw out capitalism, we're going to re-elect Trump. That clip, Michael Bloomberg can pay to have that clip shown again and again all over the country throughout the Super Tuesday states, and people are sitting there watching TV or listening to the radio, and they're watching an ad, and there's Mike Bloomberg on the stage with the big guys, and he's making a great point. We're not going to throw out socialism, or we're not going to throw out capitalism. All right, I'm giving you this background. So when you can buy this much TV, you're not even worried about earned media. But if you need to be in the news, if you need your face to be out there, you've got to have earned media. So how do you get earned media? By saying something outrageous, saying something incendiary, saying something big and epic. That's why Elizabeth Warren came out swinging and went for Mike Bloomberg's throat, because she knew that she needed to get earned media. And that clip of her is being played in news cycles all over the country right now. She wrote that one. She thought about that. Her campaign people came up with her. And it was it happened within the first 2 or 3 minutes of the debate. And the other thing is that the number of people watching the debate shrinks as time goes on through the night. So for her to get those swings in early on meant that she would be in a news cycle. Now, the reason that news cycle is so important, especially right now, is because in a country of over 300 million people, only between 6 and 8 million people were watching. It's a fraction of the country, less than 2% possibly. So that's not going to sway many voters in Nevada and in South Carolina. What might sway them is if you add 10 or 20 or 30 million viewers because you capture the soundbite in a news cycle. That's why there was so much going on last night that was incendiary, that was vicious. I mean, I got to take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk more about this. But please understand what's going on right now in the Democrat Party. The only one who has money in this campaign to really buy ads the way they need to be purchased, besides Mike Bloomberg, is Bernie Sanders. It's just the way it is. Now, he doesn't have the money that Bloomberg has, but he has the money to remain competitive. And I'll tell you what all that means when we come back from this break. Please don't go away.
I also want to speak tonight directly to Muslims throughout the world. We respect your faith. Its teachings are good and peaceful. And those who commit evil in the name of Allah blaspheme the name of Allah.
We have reaffirmed again and again that the United States is not and never will be at war with Islam. Islam teaches peace.
Islam is a religion of peace. They are not Muslims, they are monsters.
We've been told that Muslim terrorists have hijacked the peaceful religion of Islam. But Islamic art and literature tell a very different story. To know the truth, we only have to study the narrative of the founder of Islam, Muhammad, in his own words. Welcome back, friend. Tulsi Gabbard is still officially in the race, I believe. Tom Steyer is for sure still in the race, the billionaire. And he's actually polling pretty well in South Carolina. But the reality is that candidates are going to run out of money. So Tulsi's name is on the ballot. But that doesn't mean that she's going to hit the threshold in the caucus in Nevada. She's for sure not. For someone to get delegates out of Nevada this Saturday night, they have to have at least 15% of the vote. As things stand right now, Bloomberg's not on the ticket in Nevada. He was on the stage debating, but he's not in the Nevada caucus. So you've got Bernie, you've got Biden. Those two are for sure going to walk away with delegates. And after that, we don't know. Maybe Amy Klobuchar, maybe Elizabeth Warren, probably not Pete Buttigieg. So we'll see what happens. The Democrat Party is in a crisis right now. And the reason it's a crisis is because Bernie Sanders is in the lead in delegate counts and in national polling. Now, he's probably going to win Nevada. And right now, he's neck and neck with Biden in South Carolina. South Carolina was considered Biden's firewall. So let's assume that Biden wins South Carolina. All right? He's got bragging rights. It doesn't give him money. It doesn't give him the money that he would need to compete with Bloomberg on Super Tuesday. One of the reasons that Bloomberg shot up in the polls, now there are polls that have him at either second or third place after Bernie, and not a single vote has been cast for him. He hasn't even been in the first two primaries. He's not going to be in the next two primaries. One of the reasons his numbers have shot up is because he is spending hundreds of millions of dollars on advertising. So you're going to turn on your computer, you're going to sit down in front of your television, you're going to be listening to the radio, and you're going to hear a Mike Bloomberg ad. This morning, I was driving to the bank, turned on Glenn Beck, I believe it was, and I hear Obama's voice praising Mike Bloomberg. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is a Bloomberg ad. This was something when Obama was in office and the New York City worked something out or was in cahoots with Obama over something. And Obama was making a speech going on and on about what a key figure and a great leader Michael Bloomberg was. So there's this debate last night and they're out for blood. They're trying to irreparably wound Mike Bloomberg. They didn't succeed. And so today, Americans from coast to coast, Democrats from coast to coast, are hearing the voice of their beloved President Barack Obama praising Mike Bloomberg. So the crisis facing the Democrat Party is that their current frontrunner, Bernie Sanders, is an avowed socialist. Okay? He's an avowed socialist. And he's angry if someone calls him a communist because he's not a full-blown Marxist communist. He believes in private property. He's got 3 houses. Okay? In a communist country, he couldn't have 3 houses. But the party leadership knows, and big business knows, that if Bernie does in fact get the nomination, that Trump could win 35 or 40 states. He'll trounce Bernie Sanders. And the people that are on the party line ballot under Bernie Sanders are going to suffer terribly if Bernie is at the top of the ticket. So right now they want a so-called moderate to win the nomination, or to at least stop Bernie. Well, who do they have? Who do they have right now that could stop Bernie Sanders? Can Biden? No. Doesn't have the enthusiasm, doesn't have the infrastructure, doesn't have the momentum, doesn't have the movement, doesn't have the money. Can Amy Klobuchar? Most people in the country still don't even know who she is. Can Mayor Pete stop Bernie? I don't think so. He's about to go into the deep South where these people still have Christian roots and they don't take too kindly to his homosexual activities and promotion of a horrifying sin that these people don't want their children involved in. So who can stop Bernie? Elizabeth Sanders? Well, she's Bernie light and she's running out of money. And now she's starting to look like an angry woman. And that doesn't play well. All right? Bernie is an angry white male, but he's been an angry white male for 30 years. Elizabeth Warren has been this pensive white female, but suddenly fangs are coming out and people are like, whoa, 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 what's up with this? So that's a double-edged sword for her. To get the headlines that she needed, she had to have her fangs out. Who can stop Bernie? I'm sorry, friends, nobody. If Mike Bloomberg was not in this race, Bernie would be right now on his way to the nomination. So what does it mean for the Democrat Party? I'm going to take a break and I'll tell you when we come back in the closing moments of this program. Don't go away. What Would Mohammed Do? Islamic Terrorism Explained is the best movie series documentary ever produced on the life of Muhammad and Islam. How do I know? Because it's what critics are saying. John Moore, radio host and author, said, "I learned more from What Would Mohammed Do about Islam and Islamic terrorism than I've learned from everything I ever read and watched in my entire life." Friends, this is what the experts are saying. No one has ever done what we've done. I encourage you to get 1, 2, 4 copies. Call 304-289-3700 or order it at the address or the website that you see on the screen. Welcome back, friend. The goal of the Democrat leadership right now, the establishment, so-called moderates, people who believe in capitalism, the executives at NBC and CNN, guess what they don't want? They don't want Bernie to win because they know what's going to happen. And the only white knight that could possibly stop Bernie right now is Mike Bloomberg, because he's got the money. So you're going to see funds dry up for Buttigieg, Klobuchar, Elizabeth Warren, and for Biden. As that happens, and this deluge of Democrat primaries comes on, you'll see some of them be more and more frantic to get a headline, to get earned media, to get news clippings, but it's not going to be enough. And so the hope is that Bloomberg will win enough delegates to keep Bernie from winning the nomination outright. That's why last night they asked the question, Well, what if no one has a clear advantage or a clear victory when they come into the nomination? All of them except Bernie said then let the nomination process happen, which means it goes to a brokered convention. That's a fancy way of saying we're going to cut deals behind closed doors and pick our nominee. The Democrat leadership would rather pick Bloomberg than have Bernie win outright because Bernie would help burn the party to the ground. Talk to you next week.